Hi, my name is Victoria, and I am the founder of createYES. Thank you for being here today at this summit that we have, the createYES Summit for Your Environmental Sustainability, where sustainability is about more than just climate change, but what do you do in your life? How are you living that will help with sustainability for the planet? My guest today is Mare Cromwell, and I am very excited to have her here with us. She is many things, among which she is a medicine woman. She is a Gaia communicator. She is a humble servant to the Great Mother, and more. I would love to have you, Mare, introduce yourself a little bit more and tell us who has come here today.
Well, Victoria, thank you very much for having me be part of your summit. I'm very, very honored. I am a Gaia priestess, and as you mentioned, I'm a Gaia communicator. I work very, very closely with Mother Gaia. I've been studying with Native American teachers for 25 years plus now. And just a very brief intro into how this all started to manifest in a big way is in June 2012, I was just diagnosed with lymphoma. And 4 days after that, I was already scheduled to do a ceremony with a gifted Algonquin medicine man. And I knew I needed to be there at the ceremony, even though I was freaking out about this cancer diagnosis. And so I met him on the outskirts of New England. We did the ceremony in a park in the forest. And he said to me just prior to the ceremony, he says, I'm going to be bringing Mother Gaia's energy and consciousness into your energy body during the ceremony, but I don't know how you're going to disconnect. And so I said to him, I'm not concerned about what is going to happen after the ceremony because I know my life is to serve Mother. And so what's happened is that we have never disconnected. And right after that ceremony, Mother started talking to me the way you're hearing me right now, the way you would hear a friend across the table having coffee. And she said that if I surrendered to her to the extent she was going to ask me to surrender, then she would help me heal from the lymphoma without the doctors. And that's what happened. I had all these miracles happen. She also said to me within the next 2 weeks, there was just so many things that went on that were really wild. She asked me to do a book with her that summer. I was working on another book and she said, you need to put that aside. And so within 5 weeks, I wrote Messages from Mother Earth Mother with her. And that came out very fast that fall. And the following fall in 2013, she woke me up at 5 a.m, which is her way of really getting my attention. And she said, I thought I was going to move to Washington State and work with a gifted medicine woman. And she said, I want you to stay in Maryland and I want you to write, and you're going to write the Great Mother Bible. I mean, it was basically, this is what you're going to do. And so I really balked at that point, said to her, I don't think I'm the one to write a book with the word Bible in the title. And she just kept on saying, you're the one, all you need to do is listen. So starting January 2nd, 2014, the conversation started at 5 a.m, 4:45 in the morning. It was a very intense winter. And I was living off my savings. All sorts of miracles were happening, like my car going an extra 110 miles on full. When I thought it was broken, I needed to fix the gas gauge, and then it started going down normally. And Mother's like, this is so you can trust me. I'm taking care of you. And this is what she's been doing. So I've surrendered to serve her. And she talks with me pretty much all the time. I have a YouTube channel with Messages from Mother. I call them Gaia Teaches. I have the 2 books with her, Messages from Mother Earth Mother and the Great Mother Bible. And so it's an adventure, and I just keep on listening and I'm guided. Yeah. So she asked me a year and a half ago to teach a year-long course called the Great Mother Love Way. And so now I'm in my 2nd year of teaching that to people in Europe, Australia, North America. And year 2 of the Great Mother Love Way, I'm teaching to advanced people. I have all sorts of events I do. And when you first reached out to me, you said, Mare, what do you want to focus on in this interview? And I'm doing a webinar right now, just a month-long one called Sacred Earth Changes, Sacred Gardening. And so when I responded to you, I was in the middle of putting together a class on the nature spirits. which are a very integral part of the sacred community of beings here on Earth. So we can go all sorts of different directions with this conversation right now, but that's a big aspect, a significant aspect of what I'm focusing right now to help people wake up to them.
Well, speaking of waking up, one thing I would love to ask of you right now for our listeners is to have us center and be here in this moment before we dive into our conversation. Because one thing I really want to provide is some specific resources. Maybe this is something that people can listen to again if they need to recenter into something before they start their day. Can you bring us here?
Yes. So let me do it like this. First, I'm going to call in a blessing from Creator and Mother Gaia. How's that? And then a grounding to Mother's heart that's very brief. Okay. Creator, great mystery, source. We are your sacred children here in circle, asking for your love, asking for your blessing, sending you so much love and gratitude for all that you bless us with as beautiful incarnate beings here on this glorious earth. Please bless us with all that we need of your love, your energy, and your blessings. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Love you, love you, love you. Ho. Calling out to Mother Gaia. Ho, Mama. We are your sacred children here with so much love and gratitude to you and all that you bless us with. Please, Mother, gift us with whatever we need that you know better than we know, of energy, of love, of blessings, and more for our highest good, for divine plan alignment, and so that we may serve you for your divine plan alignment through these tremendous earth changes happening right now. Ho, ho. Now I invite everyone to take a deep breath in to the very bottom of their lungs and let it go. Just exhale. And take another deep breath into the very bottom of your lungs. Just gently let that breath go. And I invite you to visualize sending roots down from your root chakra and your tailbone all the way to Mother Gaia's heart in the center of the planet. And anchor these roots to her heart and know that she is connecting with you and sending you so much love back up these roots that you have just connected to her and her heart. She loves us so much and she's calling us home. So allow yourself to open your heart and open your energy body and just let this love in from Mother Gaia's heart. Beautiful, beautiful. And then take another deep breath into the very bottom of your lungs and let it out, exhale, and just come to center, allowing Mother's love to fill you, fill your entire energy body and your heart. Oh, all right. That was fun.
Yeah, thank you. We are always in sacred space, but now we have opened this circle.
Yes.
Thank you. One thing I would like to start with is on this planet right now, we have this gift of time to be centered, to be at home, to be going inward and not connected in the same way with all of the busy, busy, busy. That's a gift for us. Some people may not know what to do with this extra time. How, they want to go back to a new, bring the normal back. Well, there is no, that's gone. We are now inventing and creating and walking together towards our new future. But for someone who really is feeling lost, what are something you can share for that person?
I think one of the most important things to share is for people to know how deeply loved they are. We are inherently loved by Creator and Mother Gaia and our ancestors serving the highest good. There are spirit teams for every single one of us who love us deeply. And if we're really struggling with the changes, with the everything that's been going on with the pandemic. And then we have the protests now, which are really, really important. There's a lot of awakening energies happening on the planet. To come to center and open your heart up to this love, and then send your love back out, because it's our free will whether to give it back. That's one of our choices here, to be incarnate beings, spiritual beings having a physical experience, is do we then reciprocate this love that is always there for us? And so I would offer that as a first step. And then beyond that, if people knew how much the trees are yearning for us to connect with them and offer us healing energy, walking barefoot on the ground and opening the chakras, in your feet to mother's heart, like what I just guided people through to connect to her heart. I mean, we are being called home right now, home to the planet, to our planetary caretaker, and all the sacred ones who have actually lived here on the planet long before humans ever evolved. They're calling us home because we have gotten so disconnected and imbalanced. And so it's really a beautiful, beautiful experience to open up to this, because there's so much healing energy there to tap into. They want us to heal back into coming home.
Thank you. One thing I think of is your background with your undergraduate degree and your master's degree, shifting from that, shall we say, Western training and education into the Cherokee and other elders that you have worked with. How did you go from this paradigm to this paradigm? How did you make that shift? Maybe that's a 5-hour answer, but.
Well, I can be succinct. I was dealing with a lot of depression for years when I was because I was running an international environmental network for a number of years out of Ann Arbor, Michigan, based at the university. And then, it split off to be its own nonprofit. And I had just finished my master's there at University of Michigan, and I was a workaholic, and I was on and off antidepressants, and knew that it was time for me to leave that job. I've been very spiritually guided all my life. I've been very blessed with that. And this is where I know that the work that I'm doing is soul contract work. And it's not been easy finding my way all the time because of the confusion when I was younger, the depression, feeling really weird. Because when I got out of college, I went on to be a park ranger in the Grand Canyon in Alaska. I mean, my family is a very traditional family in Baltimore of lawyers and doctors and engineers. And here's this, one daughter who's off being a park ranger in Alaska and doing really weird things. And yet I was always really guided. Like, as soon as I graduated from college, I got the spiritual message that I was not to get a desk job. I'm like, okay, well then cool. I'll find something to do outside. And I landed at the bottom of the Grand Canyon. So, but I did grapple with depression for many years. And it wasn't until I moved back to Maryland, out of sheer default, mind you. When I left Ann Arbor, I thought I was going to move to Washington State. 3 times I've tried to move to Washington State, and every single time Mother and Spirit are like, you're not doing this. Even when I was about to be offered a job on the Olympic Peninsula back in '94, I just knew inside I couldn't do it. Much to the chagrin of the the committee that wanted to hire me. I'd applied 6 months before. A lot of things had shifted in that time. So, essentially, I've been very blessed, as hard as it's been at times. But I want to share that when I started to work with this Cherokee teacher, and I was really in a dark place when I met her, feeling like I was never going to get my life together. I had started my first book. My first book, by the way, is called If I Gave You God's Phone Number. It's interviews with really different people. That was before Mother Gaia came into my energy body and things started to go very much, serving Mother. I met this Cherokee teacher through a friend in Baltimore, and within 2 sessions with her, she did a really huge healing on me, and my depression lifted and I was able to go off the antidepressants and never needed to go back on them since. Now, that doesn't mean sometimes I don't have some waves of depression, but nothing like what it was. I was really in a dark place for a long time. But I kept on like having this inner guidance that keep on searching, keep on searching. And so this is what my journey has been. And I've been blessed to work with some incredible mentors and elders. And so, yeah, it's been a little different. When I have family gatherings with my family, nobody ever asks me how my books are going because it's like too out there for them. But it's okay because we still have a lot of love for each other. And they trust me. I mean, my parents are very Catholic. I was raised Catholic, and the whole mother thing, Divine Mother, my parents didn't get for a couple of years. But my mother team actually includes not just Mother Gaia. I work very closely with the Virgin Mary, Kuan Yin. This journey just keeps on going deeper with the work that I do in my healing practice and when I do ceremony. So all I know is that I keep on affirming that I am in alignment with my divine plan. And sometimes I stumble, sometimes I question, sometimes I am really not sure what's going on. Even like, I mean, the whole COVID thing. Mother told me, I will share this, Mother told me back at the end of December that things are going to start rocking and rolling and that they're not going to calm down. So there is no going back to normal, as you were just saying. We're not meant to, because normal was never serving us and the planet. No.
Yeah. It's time for the way forward. It's time for new vibrations.
We have to. We have no choice. The planet's going to do it regardless. That's what people need to really realize. And it's for us humans to get on board. And it's really coming back to the love and the oneness, you know, but it's a lot of healing work to get there. Deep, deep healing work.
So you mentioned healing work. Perhaps that healing work is one thing that people can do in their own lives. Heal yourself first. Heal yourself while reaching out, not separate from reaching out. But if we can take that inner look, that inner deep dive, that building our connections, how do you see that helping us personally to then help the planet, helping us get connected and grounded to then help the global condition?
Well, anytime that we are healing ourselves, healing our wounded inner child, healing our shadow, we are opening our hearts more. We're learning to love ourselves more. And one thing that's happening that a lot of people are aware of is the energies are rising on the planet. And a lot of this has nothing to do with what humans are doing. It has to do with energies, entities, beautiful beings coming into the planet to support the raising of the energies, because this is what the new earth is about. Is shifting to a higher dimensional being, basically, and releasing the denser energies. So, but it's a journey for every single one of us, because our Western society has done a really good job of keeping us very mired in the denser energies, in the guilt, the fear, the shame. And so it's a courageous journey to go deep and heal what is within us that is holding us back from really being in a place of luminous love. And yet, if we only knew how much we are loved and supported in doing that, then it would be easier for us. I mean, one of the benefits of the COVID, and there are many silver linings to COVID, is that a lot of people, there are a lot of people who started to support each other. You know, even with the social distancing, I found my neighbors reaching out. I was reaching out to them more, like who needed groceries. You know, the communities are starting to reweave together. And that's one of the things that Mother is calling us to do, is you are meant to be in community. This whole individualism, separation illusion is an illusion. And people's hearts have been opening. I mean, it's been tragic for a lot of people. There are a lot of people out of work. But when we all, or the significant majority of us, wake up to that we're meant to take care of each other, then everyone's needs will be met. And this is the future. This is how we're going to be living. And we're in the bumpy part right now. We definitely are. But I really do want to stress that we also have to remember that it's not just humans here on Earth. You
Mm.
know, I mean, trees are very, very conscious, highly intelligent, wise beings. They have auras, energy fields that are very healing for us. If you're really struggling, go to a tree, talk to the tree, put your heart on the tree, even ask the tree for help. And in most cases, the tree will support you. And and then you have a friend. You have a new friend who's a tree. You open your heart to the tree opens its heart to you. They're calling for us to heal. And they are here to support us. I mean, they're not just here to support us. I mean, they want to support us because they know what's going on. They're far more aware than we are, actually.
Mhm.
And they are calling us home again. And I want to just mention really briefly that on my YouTube channel, I interviewed in the winter of 2018 a dolphin communicator, whale communicator, tree communicator, et cetera, et cetera. I did 8 interviews. And it was amazing, the wisdom and compassion and love that came forward from these other beings that we share the planet with. And obviously it was only 8 interviews. I didn't interview, you know, thousands of people who talked to all sorts of different species and beings. But, you know, there's this vast community of sacred beings that surround us all the time, calling us to reconnect with them, because we used to work with them really closely and then we got led astray. Yeah.
Well, I'm in that place myself right now, and I'm hoping to bring my story to other people as you're bringing your story as well, where I also have been in the past. I was stuck and I was not living as much as existing. And now through a couple nights of ceremony with Brazilian shamans, I have done some of that deep inner work, and that has begun my shift. And now here we are doing this.
Beautiful.
And it's all perfect timing. You feel the chills. So it's all
Beautiful.
perfect timing.
Yeah.
And yet, what does it take for some people to take that first step? Maybe it's something they don't even recognize is going to shift them, but we're really going through big paradigm shifts right now. And I just want to provide some ways, some tips, some insight into how do you take that first step into the unknown, into that thing that is going to really shift and open to new possibilities.
Oh, it's a good question. You know, sometimes we need a kick in the butt.
Yes.
And I think that COVID is a kick in the butt. Just like the Black Lives Matters movement that's really gotten activated, it's a kick in the butt to our entire society. Sometimes we, you know, there's so much happening multidimensionally on the earth that people are starting to experience more synchronistic, serendipitous sort of openings. And that's part of the dimensional shifting. And my advice is to be open. If you're terrified, seriously, if you're terrified right now, wherever you are, 2 things. 1, call on your ancestors serving the highest good, because they're waiting to help you, but you need to ask for their help. Just like all the beautiful spiritual, I work with Archangel Michael. I work with the Christ consciousness, but you have to ask them for help. There are times I will go to my altar, and if you don't have an altar, then that's okay. Just light a candle. And you can go to that place of right in front of the candle or your altar if you have one, and just call out for help. And they will hear it.
How would you do that? In your mind, with your voice?
Well, I live alone, so sometimes I go to my altar and I say, help.
Help.
I do. I really do. I say it out loud, help.
Yeah.
And they hear you. They hear you. But then the next thing is to listen, to still your mind as best as you can. And this is where I really encourage people to go outside and walk barefoot on ground that hasn't been treated with chemicals, of course, grass, or go to a tree and know that you are being loved, and do everything you can to just trust that love and then listen. who knows? I mean, someone may call you that night or the next day, or you might get a spiritual message that it's like, wow, okay, then that's the direction I need to go in. But a lot of people give up. It breaks my heart how people are committing suicide. And they, you know, I mean, honestly, this is part of my healing practice, is to work with people with suicide patterns in their family to help clear those patterns. But we're never alone, and we're always loved, you know. And even in my darkest moments, I didn't know that. I did not know that, but I know that now. And so this, again, you can call on the Virgin Mary, you can call on Mother Gaia, call for help from the spirit realms. They're here to help us.
One thing I've heard you repeat many times is to listen.
Yeah.
When someone is at the beginning of learning to listen, what does that look like? What I've heard in my experience is people's listening to messages, to intuitions, to guidance comes in many different forms. For you, you said talking with Mother Gaia is like a conversation like we're having, that kind of very specific and direct. Yes, I hear words, so I know it's the conversation. Sometimes it's more of a color or a feeling, or as you mentioned, the phone call might come that evening. How can someone set themselves up to prepare to listen, to prepare to receive that message and learn to recognize and trust? You mentioned trust as well. How do we learn that skill if we're at the very beginning of learning to listen?
Well, the most important thing is to focus on dropping your energy from your head to your heart. Yeah, because we're so mind, intellect based in our society that we've disconnected from the heart. And there are Indigenous teachers who teach that they never lost the capacity to live from their heart, and that's where they're very tuned in. So that's my first suggestion, is do what you can to still your thoughts, which is hard, I get that, and open your heart. And you can even like visualize a door opening to your heart and being in that place of being receptive. I'm here to listen. So that's one suggestion. I would also say be compassionate with yourself, be gentle, because this doesn't usually happen for most people in a millisecond. So it's a practice. But I think, first of all, again, knowing and deeply believing that you are loved is huge. And what that means is we are love. We are love. We are far more powerful than we realize. I mean, that's one of the things that an amazing matriarch orca whale had communicated to a whale communicator, Mary J. Gedden, is that you humans are so much more powerful than you realize. And this is one of the things that Mother has said to me numerous times, Mother Gaia, remember who you are. You are far more powerful than you realize. And when we can open our hearts and cultivate that opening and, you know, and live from that place, then we shift our energy field and things start happening. We start receiving. We give forth, we receive. It's a dance. It's a dance of beautiful joy and love. And this is where the world is heading. This is where we will be as the new earth fully bursts in, is we'll be dancing in the field of joy and love. But we need to clear and heal what's gotten so mired within us and within within the dimensional planes here on the earth. But they're being cleared in many ways. I mean, there are cosmic shamans who are working. There are lots of healers who are supporting people. Oh, I could go on and on. I mean, there are avatars coming in from the cosmic zones, universal zones, to help activate the planet. Nature spirits are getting upgrades. I could go on and on about just the nature spirits. And by the way, people, nature spirits really exist. And life on Earth could not exist without them.
Can you say more?
Yeah, no, I love talking about this, and I can feel the nature spirits getting excited around me because they love it when I talk about them. Excuse me for a second, I need to drink. So the very first cell evolved on the planet in the company of a powerful nature spirit that came from another planet. And from that moment on, that more nature spirits have been evolving. as the life matter on the planet has evolved. Every single plant on the planet has a deva, which is a spiritual consciousness, which holds the energetic blueprint for that species. Every single species, every single plant has a group of pixies and fairies that activate the plant so that the sap rises from the ground, the soil gets activated, and they're constantly transforming light that comes in from the sun, from the astral planes to the etheric planes, to feed that into the plants. I mean, it's like teams of them. I mean, there's a tree that just got cut across the street this week. And it hurt me deeply because I knew there was a nature spirit in the tree. They're called dryads. And I thought I was going to be able to help it the next day. I thought they were going to leave a stump, but they didn't. If they had left a stump, when trees are cut by a chainsaw, it's incredibly painful for them. And again, you know, if you know a tree is about to be cut, or you have tree on your property that needs to be cut, go to it the day before and ask it to withdraw its energy. Tell it it's going to be cut and just give it that compassion to withdraw its energy. But this tree had no warning. And there was a dryad, which is like a tree nymph living in the tree. And they go from trees to trees. So they continue to exist for a long, long time beyond a tree when a tree dies. The next morning, they didn't leave a stump. They came and they ground the whole stump into the ground the way they do at times. And the dryad got caught in it and got wounded. Now, the good news is that I made some prayers and asked for healing energy for the tree. And I was concerned about the dryad. I thought I would be able to put a stone on the stump and help the dryad go in the stone and then move it to a wooded area. But I couldn't do that. But then I found out through a gifted friend of mine he's an amazing nature spirit mystic. And I said, Cornelis, this is what happened. He's a Dutch man. And he tuned in and he said, well, I'm seeing that the dryad was really wounded, but she's been taken to another place to be healed in the multidimensional realms. And then he said, and there are a group of gnomes who are now healing the ground there. So everywhere we do anything where there's damage to the ecosystems, there are nature spirits that come in and heal it. Everywhere around the planet, there are nature spirits that live in the ocean and activate the surface of the ocean, transmuting the light from, again, the sun to the astral planes to the etheric planes. All over the world, this is happening. And if, you know, this is really, really important for people to realize, is that we could not live without them. And there's another piece to this, which is kind of wild. They are very, very powerful, and they could destroy us in a millisecond if they wanted to. But they haven't, because they haven't been guided to do that, even though they have seen how humans have gotten so astray and so destructive. And they hold a lot of love and compassion for us because they see a lot of us waking up, and it gives them hope. All the people who are protesting, honestly, gives them hope that people are waking up. And all the people who are waking back up to the nature spirits. I mean, I'm having so much fun teaching this webinar on sacred gardening because, you know, the people I'm teaching, a group in Europe, a group in North, they're like, I never knew any of this. I never knew this. I'm like, the fairy tales are not truth. The nature spirits are not fiction.
But one thing that's coming up for me is that message of hope. Sometimes people can see the destruction and feel that it is hopeless. And yet this really, I mean, I'm feeling it in my entire body right now, that the message of hope is part of why we're here today in this conversation.
Yes.
To share so that people can see that there are true, real, actual ways that this may seem to be destroyed, but sometimes we have to, but I don't know that there's an intention to the destruction, but things do need to be let go of in order to move forward sometimes. But there's hope.
let me speak more to that because first of all, Mother Gaia is the ultimate healer with all of her teams, including the nature spirits. I mean, like, I did heal from the lymphoma without working with the doctors. I had trees give me massive healings. I had spontaneous ceremonies that weren't planned. It was all very guided. And Mother really held her word because I held my word. I surrendered to serve her. On top of that, what I really want people to know who are going to be listening to this is that the nature spirits right now are so excited because the energies are rising on the planet. And many of them went into hiding several thousand years ago. They went into energetic kind of vortexes down in the Earth's crust, and they hid themselves behind crystal walls. They really did. And they're emerging now because they are seeing and feeling the rising energies, and it's time for them to come forward to bring the balance back, because they are a big part of what brings balance into the planet. And so they're celebrating in the midst of all of our human chaos. They're celebrating along with other spiritual beings on the planet. They're celebrating because they already know the new earth is like practically fully here. Really, this is where they're coming from. So there is huge hope. And for we humans, you know, the messages for us is to wake up. And that means a lot of things to different people, but to come back home to Mother, to really simplify our lives, because we've gotten so materialistic. It's like our self-esteem is wrapped up in how much we own, how much we possess. And that's not what life is. Life is about your heart. Life is about your community. Life is about how much you're pumping back into the field of love that you were born into, that we're all born into. And there are enough resources on the planet. And I'm hesitating to use the word resources because that's another thing. We're meant to shed the concept of natural resources, because it has that connotation that everything is there to be harvested. Like the earth is a big machine and it's got parts, and you just go into the mountain and you take the coal and you go into the ground and you frack, and all of that is this illusion of a mechanistic worldview, which is not accurate. And I know you know this. Yeah. So we need to shed. Yeah. So I hesitate using the word resources, but you know, our essential human needs, if we really just looked at what they are and were honest with ourselves about it, we don't need all the gadgetry. We don't need to use all this electricity for all this gadgetry. It's really about your quality of life. I mean, many years ago, I was involved in organizing events on voluntary simplicity, which is not the same as involuntary simplicity. There's a big distinction, obviously, because there are a lot of people around the planet whose essential needs are not being met. Right. And that's completely unjust and not right. It's not how we're meant to be living.
As we come to a place of building more community, which you said we're doing, and I agree, we are coming together more, even though we are separate in our own spaces, but we're building community. And that's exactly, I want to build a tribe of connected communicators. That's what's coming to me. So my tribe of connected communicators, you're out there, you're on your way if you feel connected to this conversation and the other ones that I'll be having. Join me, join Mare. So how would people join you in your webinar? You're now into year 2 for the more experienced ones, but if someone wanted to get started with working with you, how would they do that?
Well, first we'll go to my website, which is marecromwell.com. Which I assume it'll probably be underneath this video when you post this. Yeah. Thanks. And get my books. There's a lot of wisdom. I mean, especially the Great Mother Bible, that's really a manual for birthing the new earth. That's what that book is. And within that book, actually in the beginning, is Mother Gaia's 13 love directives and precepts. And study those. And I downloaded those. Mother, when I was writing the first book with Mother, Messages from Mother with Mother, the 5th message, quote unquote message, she asked me to write with her, which she said, now I want you to write my 13 commandments. She was saying commandments at the time. And I'm like, I don't think so all right, help me out with that, Mother, you know. So that night I started to go to bed and I was told, get out of bed and do ceremony. And I'm a huge believer in ceremony. Ceremony is so healing on so many levels if people really knew. But anyway, so I did ceremony that night. And before I started, I was told, get a pen and a pad of paper. And I just wrote down exactly what I heard. And what came out of that was 13, I call them now love directives, because it's love directives from Mother. And then 13 precepts. And so, you know, get my books, Messages from Mother, Earth Mother, the Great Mother Bible. They're available online. I'm going to be working on the Audible version in the next few months, finally, for the Great Mother Bible. But they are ebooks and hard copy. And I do teach the year-long course. The next course starts for year 1 in January. So it starts then.
They have time to get used to.
They have time to like explore.
Yeah.
Go to my YouTube channel because there are interviews there. One with a gifted Hawaiian kahuna elder that I just did in June. No, it was in May. I've done 2 interviews with my gifted Dutch nature spirit mystic friend, Cornelis, which are really interesting. Direct messages from the nature spirit realms, which are really fascinating. Then there are a number of Gaia teaches of direct messages from Mother, because Mother will wake me up sometimes in the morning and say, I need you to do this now. I've actually done them out of my bed. I literally will get up, brush my teeth. I'm still in my nightgown. And she's like, just do it now. Don't worry about how you look. I need to get this message out. So there are various places you can go to be really tapped into Mother through my work. And that's my suggestion. I'm, co-hosting a wild dolphin bimini swim at the end of July, which has a waiting list right now. The nature spirit webinar I did with Cornelis, we did that in February, which was off the charts, amazing, like all these spiritual activations. That's available to purchase as a package on my website. It just, you can explore my website. But I think the most important thing is, know that we have a planetary caretaker who exists. She really does exist. And I have a gifted friend who she appeared to him as a column of wispy smoke or vapor. It's a wild story. And connect with her from your heart to her heart, from your energy body to her heart. There is a meditation that's free on my website called the Mother's Love Cord Meditation, which really guides people through that.
If people are exploring on your website and they find this meditation or they find the YouTube videos, will they find in there some tips on how to fix the environment? Maybe you have a tip on how to fix the environment. I say that it's a really big idea, but maybe there's something simple to start with.
Well, I want to take that question, if you don't mind, and turn it around.
Yes.
Because the environment, as in Mother Gaia and all of our sacred beings around us, will fix themselves on their own. What we need to do as humans is to cease and desist what we're doing that is harming Mother and all these sacred beings, ecosystems. So, simplify your life is a big one, which means you're consuming a lot less material, as in the throughput of creating products. Where's your food coming from? A lot of this is where in the events I do, I really don't talk too much about sustainability because it's everywhere. You can find it on the internet. You can buy books. It's been in the vernacular. We just need to start doing it in a deep way. My goal is not only do all those things and go outside your comfort zone in what you're doing to be more sustainable, but connect with the love and heal yourself. So fixing the environment means fixing ourselves.
Beautiful.
Fixing our human society and our systems. And they're crumbling right now. It's an interesting process. I'll say interesting, quote unquote, that we're going through right now. Bumpy is another word that could be used.
Bumpy. And I say fix in quotes because we're perfect as we are. There's nothing to fix. But fix is a word that triggers people. So they might actually pay attention. They might actually then take steps. But ultimately, we are perfectly in line. We're on track. Maybe we've had struggles. Maybe we seem broken. Maybe we seem like we need to be fixed. But we are perfectly imperfect, perfectly on purpose. So shifting even that need to be fixed to where do I go to improve? How do I move forward? How do I step into my greatness? And your solution that I'm hearing is really connect with that love. Really listen. Really ask for help. Really build that connection. Send your roots down into the earth for that grounded connection.
To her heart. Yeah.
Bring
Yeah.
bring our head to our heart.
Yes.
I've heard that say, drop your awareness 13 inches.
Exactly. Yeah. It, Mother Gaia is calling for a huge course correction.
Hmm.
And so that's not fixing, that's just course correction.
There we go.
And that even sounds a little bit jargonish to me saying it that way. But there are those who are resistant to wanting to embrace what is whole and sustainable and healthy for all life, and they're wounded. I'll word it that way. Now, that may be a contradiction to them not needing to fix anything, because, the system just needs a major course correction, and it's happening. But we as consumers, again, have huge powers with how we purchase things and what we do.
This may seem like a strange place to take this right now, but at this moment, I am feeling my spot. I have this spot in the back of my neck that I consider to be that area of weakness, perhaps, where I need a little more protection, or it's where things leak out or leak in. And I am really feeling this spot right now. So what would someone do? I mean, I'm asking, of course, for me, but this is not just about me. This is a metaphor to me that, okay, I'm really feeling this thing that I have noticed as a pattern in the past. My inclination might be, okay, how do I fix that spot? As a metaphor for everything in my life. And
well, I can offer something since you're asking, because I do have a healing practice. I would encourage you, and I can guide you through it if you want to have this be part of the interview, to connect with your...
It came in and I'm like, what? No, what?
There's a reason. There's a reason.
I'm listening
to
bringing that up, if that
so
has benefit.
What I'd be guiding you through is connecting with your higher self, your I am self, and your spirit team, to ask that this be healed, to serve your highest good for divine plan alignment. So if you're open to that, I can guide you through that.
Sure.
I mean, there's more going on that I'm sensing that we can't really get into here. And if you want to contact me later, you're welcome to.
I think I will be doing that. But for this purpose in this audience.
Let's just do this then. All right. So I'll just guide you through it. I am. So you just repeat after me, okay? I am that I am.
I am that I am.
Calling on.
Calling on.
My highest.
My highest
self.
Highest self.
And my spirit teams.
And
I'm going to call in my spirit team to support you. To fully resolve. This vulnerability. In my neck. So that I may be in full alignment. With my highest good. For divine plan alignment.
Whole.
So let me continue. Yeah. Hold on. You're getting there. So be it. So it is. Anchor, lock, and seal. I am. With love and gratitude. Love and gratitude. Do it 4 times. One more time. Love and gratitude. Aho. So how does that feel for you to do that?
Do you see the face shift?
Yeah, I do. We're having a little bit of a funky connection here, but if you feel a shift, that's good.
I feel like the smile got bigger somehow.
Good.
And a little brighter.
Good. Yeah,
for that.
you got a beautiful energy wash, and you asked your I am self to please clear this
Hmm.
along with your spirit team.
Yes. Well, thank you. Except for my interruption of that process, is this something that someone can do for themselves, and maybe not their neck, but their knee, their
Mm.
grief? Or is that really?
Well, I think the short answer is to realize that we're the creators of our own reality. And there are all these different layers to ourselves. And when we truly start to own that we're the creators of our own reality, look at you like bending your neck. You feel a shift there.
Yes.
Yeah, beautiful. When we really own that, then we can start to feel more empowered to heal
Mm.
and make the shifts. And it's not always easy to do it all by yourself. Like I'm working with a gifted healer right now also, because sometimes we need support from outside. But the most important thing is to, I would say, if you're having knee issues, send love to your knee, and then call on your highest self and your spirit team to ask that whatever is there to be resolved for your highest good.
Mm.
It's more complicated than that, but that's a simplistic answer, you know.
But for someone to begin,
Yeah.
if they are home alone, maybe they have this one tip now that they can use to begin to ask for help, maybe with this format, maybe with whatever they're called to shift it into. Ask for help in that way. Be ready to listen and to receive, and open that door. You said visualize opening the door in your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Visualize opening that door for it to come in
Mm-hmm.
and to allow it to release. It's as much realizing, I think, I don't need to hold on to that old pattern anymore.
No.
I'm here now. It's time. I
Yeah.
can shift.
Yeah. And to when you finish your process, to send love and gratitude back out to your spirit teams that are supporting you. It's really, really important because it's a relationship.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
It's a good question. And you feel a little better. You feel a little shifted.
Yeah, and that part, it's not, it was really saying, okay, I mean, I
Interesting.
didn't expect to ask you that kind of question, but it has softened now. It has softened
Good.
back down. But okay, we've accomplished that one thing.
Yeah.
I'm thinking for our listeners, of course for me, but of course for our listeners. And
Good.
it's yeah. So are there? Can you wrap up with a little bit more about your role with Gaia that you haven't maybe gotten into yet, or what we can do for Mother Gaia in our own homes and our own space? Maybe we're in an apartment building and not connected to the ground that we can just walk outside.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we live in a home where we can walk outside easily.
You know, I know I've said a number of things already in this conversation. I would say, again, to really acknowledge that Mother Gaia exists and that she has tremendous love for us. And I mean, I'll share this with you because this is part of Mother's 13 love directives and precepts. And this is some of the precepts. She said, touch me, your mother, every day. Touch my skin, my earth. Let my healing energy come into you to calm you and heal you. Send your love energy back into me also. I yearn for you to consciously do this. I think that's a really powerful thing to sort of end this with, because hopefully everyone where they live, unless you're in a really urban area where they've cut all the trees down, you can still have a potted plant in the sun in the window. And that is a way to connect with Mother. So every day she's calling us to do this. And for a number of years now, almost every day, even in the winter in the snow, I go out barefoot and I walk in the ground, even when there's been snow. Now I've gotten a little lax about it this winter, I have to admit, but almost every day I put my hands on a tree. I have a couple of sacred trees right here that are just so beautiful and so loving. And they told me they missed me when I came back from Europe last year after doing some
Oh,
events. They said, we missed you. I'm like, oh. So, you know, it's always a love exchange. But the most important thing is realizing that there's love coming back to you and there's love you can give forward. And this is part of coming back home to Mother and all these sacred beings.
so engage in that circle.
Mhm.
Receive the love, share the love, send the love,
Mhm.
accept the love.
Yeah,
And
it's a
keep that-
sacred, yeah, it's a sacred hoop. We're mending the sacred hoop, as the native peoples, Lakota, put it. We're mending the sacred hoop, and this is one of the ways, you know. I mean, I could go into more depth, but I think we need to wrap it up here. But
Okay.
yeah, but just, it's a beautiful love dance that we live in, and we just were never taught that. Evolution is an act of love, really. I mean, think about that. That's profound.
Absolutely. And with that, evolution is an act of love. I think that is our summation. There we go. We've arrived.
Yay.
Mare Cromwell, I want to thank you very much for joining us for this conversation today for the createYES Summit for your environmental sustainability. I look forward to seeing you in our Facebook group and sending people your way to your website and your YouTube channel. And yes, we'll have this on the video when it goes out, and we can also make sure we have all that information in the Facebook group for people.
Thank you. Thank you, Victoria.
Thank you.
This has been a joy. Yeah, yeah. All right. Much love to you.
And to you.
All right.